Ladies and gentlemen, now today we've got the September patch notes, and with it, man, we have official confirmation of the second character next month. Now, we already know via the roadmap that we're going to be getting Professor X. However, the second champion has been confirmed to be Apocalypse. Now, we don't have champion spotlights, we don't even have any photos of either character, so I'm a little bit disappointed because we can't find out like any more information until next week. But dude, next month's characters hopefully are going to be so good. I mean, it's Professor X and Apocalypse. They have to do both of them like so much justice. But I'm also very curious, especially with all their connections as well, like what kind of synergies these champions are going to have for some of the existing mutants in the game. Hopefully, like one of them, ideally, I think Professor X, hopefully has some sort of synergy that finally makes Cyclops a really good character. But bro, Apocalypse, I just cannot wait to see both of these characters, man. Next month is going to be absolutely mental on the Cavalier crystals. So yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm really excited for both of those. Again, we got the first Cavalier Difficulty arriving next Wednesday as well. We don't know the rewards of this one yet, so I think there's probably going to be an announcement probably the next Monday or Tuesday for the Cavalier Awards. But yeah, hopefully it's not going to be too bad, quite fun, and give loads of 6-star shards and a generous amount of T5CC as well. That'd be good. Now, we covered this a little bit earlier this week. There's also going to be a brand new like Treasure Hunt Treasure Island event. And basically, if you don't know anything about this event, if you're going in blind, there are like 28 paths on every single difficulty, but everybody has the same rewards everywhere. So essentially, if you don't know too much, you want to wait like 2 days for a full map to come out of like where all the rewards are, because there's some really good stuff. There's like 2 5-star awakening gems across epic and legendary difficulty. There's like a featured 5-star hero crystal, loads of 6-star shards. But if you don't use a map, again, you could run into anything and maybe like get some of the rewards that you didn't want to pick up. So yeah, my advice to everybody, man, is just like wait a couple of days for there to be maps of like where all the really good stuff is for this event. So yeah, don't worry about this one for a couple of days. Also as well, next month, man, as many of you may know, both copies of Magneto are being buffed. We've got the the full spotlights for both characters, and I'll talk a little bit about both of these Magnetos a bit toward the end of the video, but basically this one, man, the red one, the buff is really stupidly hype. He's still like crazy good. He has been toned down like a little bit, but really just a very small amount. This champion's still going to be crazy OP. I think he's got solid potential to be a beyond god tier champion, but I might start him off in like the solid god tier, and I think this other Magneto like has some crazy synergies, especially for metal characters. However, this Magneto isn't quite as exciting on his own in comparison to the red version, so he's probably like around the high demigod tier, I would say. So yeah, the red one is definitely about 5 times more broken than the white version, but the white version is still good. Like, I like both Magnetos after their buffs, and the white one has a bit more of like an organic and natural loop in comparison to the red one, who does feel like a bit weird to play for a while. But again, we'll talk about them more in detail as we get toward the end of it. So something that's going to be arriving next Wednesday as well is the Omega Boss Rush. So the Omega Boss Rush is basically like taking all 5 of the previous boss rushes that are out at the moment back to back in a single quest. So I'm not too sure if there's going to be like a super hard boss or something a little bit spicy and difficult toward the end of it, because I think there are only like 6 fights in each one, and this boasts 31 fights. So yeah, I think there might be like some sort of crazy final fight as well, but I'm not too sure what to expect there. But again, this one's got some really nice rewards. There's like a 10% T5CC selector, so if you're like very close to forming a tier 5 catalyst for a 6-star rank 3, this is definitely going to be something to be very excited about if you got a fat old endgame roster. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. Like next Wednesday there's going to be Cavalier Difficulty, there's going to be this as well. It's going to be a very busy night of content, man, but I'm looking forward to it as well. Also, in terms of quality of life, we are getting a sell from stash, so to help with inventory management, you can now sell from your stash as well, which is really, really good. Also, when you're editing your team, you can now sort by your champions tag on the champions page, so it just makes it very easy to find characters and kind of build your team. So nice little improvement there as well. There are also a few adjustments to Act 6 in Chapter 3 and also Chapter 4. So it looks like they're removing additional attack buffs from the global nodes. Now, I had a little bit of a look just to see how much of an impact this would be. So in all of Chapter 4, they're actually removing this additional node, which increases attack by 300%, and it's on every single global. So if we just open up like a random quest in Act 6 Chapter 4, you can see here there's like a 300% booster to attack and health, 600% booster to health, and 300% on top of that to attack. So this should like almost half, I think, the value of like every character's attack toward the end of Act 6 and Chapter 4. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really good improvement for Chapter 4. And in terms of Chapter 3, they're slashing this value by they're removing like the 200% attack one, so the attack values across Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 should really be brought down a fair chunk comparatively speaking. It's again like 2 to 3 times the additional base attack of a character, so this should actually make quite a noticeable difference. But yeah, I'm curious to like test this out when it does go live as well. But hey, more Act 6 nerfs, very much appreciated, man. And taking away like the super silly attack on some of these bosses and fights is always very much appreciated as well. So there are also a few bug fixes and improvements, and there are a few characters that having the metal tag added to them. So Annihilus is getting the metal tag, so is Corvus Glaive, Heimdall is going to be getting it, Hulk Ragnarok's going to be getting it as well, Nova, Proxima Midnight, Ronan, Taskmaster, Thanos, Thor, and Thor Jane Foster. So this actually further buffs up the red version of Magneto, because again, against characters with the metal tag, he gets huge improvements as well. So yeah, this is going to be great for a lot of different matchups, but also means that these characters are going to be less valuable versus Magneto, and I think this is going to be really annoying for Corvus Glaive, because you know, some people love to use Corvus Glaive absolutely everywhere. I think the majority of people do, so now Corvus Glaive is going to be I assume a fair bit annoying to fight against Magneto, especially in his buffed up state and version. Still not impossible. I guess you still got the guaranteed crits there, but just going to be a little bit annoying, so just keep that in mind as well. Also, the metal tag has been removed from Gwenpool there, so that's a bit interesting. I don't really get why they removed it from her, in all fairness, man. But aside from that, I don't think there's anything like too noticeable. It's just like kind of various bugs and all sorts of stuff. There's one with Nick Fury fixed an issue where heal block was not shrugged off. Sasquatch fixed an issue with a special one connecting and stuff. But I'm just having a bit of a look here. I don't think there's anything like super specific. Update the description of slow champions and nodes to say that it reduces ability accuracy. Okay. And then we got fixed an issue where certain champions KO'd against the wall without causing it to explode. So yeah, it's just like general bug fixes and stuff. I don't think there's anything too significant that we glossed over there. But yeah, we got the Magneto buffs. So again, dude, just show you the spotlights and stuff. The one thing that has changed from the beta when it comes to the the regular version of Magneto, is that his smaller prowess, he has 2 types of prowess. He has one off the heavy attack and one also charging off the heavy attack as well. So the one charging has actually been reduced from 40 down to 30. And again, this really isn't too much of a difference because he hit like a freaking truck, and he's still going to hit like a freaking truck as well. This just removes like an additional like plus 50% special attack damage, but he still has like plus 400% special attack damage. So yeah, he's still going to hit really, really ridiculously hard. And just to show you some buff beta gameplay, if you missed it, again, this Magneto is all about charging heavy attacks. So you get into the fight, you throw a couple of heavy attacks just to initially get that 20% prowess, but you can only have a maximum of 5 of those, and then it's about charging the longer heavy attacks in order to double your prowess. So it actually makes him like a little bit easier to ramp up as well to a certain extent, because you need to charge heavy, like I think it's like 1 time less, but again, it really doesn't matter too much overall. Like the Magneto buff is still going to be crazy. And I'm predicting like a place in the Beyond God tier, but I don't know if I want to like start him off initially in the Beyond God tier, just because I want to wait a month or two just to see how players find this character and exactly what they use him for. But also in terms of utility and stuff, this guy just destroys like pretty much anybody with a metal tag. And again, the characters that do have metal tags have been expanded quite significantly, as we saw in the patch notes. But yeah, against metal you gain like 50% additional perfect block chance, gain loads of additional attack. Also your attacks cannot be auto blocked or miss. Also Magneto on his base has a reduction of 90% to incoming bleed and shock debuffs, and his attack still energy damage instead of physical. And I think as well, also against what is it, Emma Frost and inverted controls, he still has that core thing with a helmet where his controls like cannot be reversed. So yeah, this guy's just crazy, man. There's so much stuff with Magneto. So again, if you do want to check out like everything with the red version, I will put a link to the full kind of buffed up gameplay video in the description. But yeah, once you fire off that special 3, man, it's just game over. He hits so hard. He's got a massive bleed at the end of it, and yeah, like his damage really hasn't been toned down like much at all, just a very small amount. Still going to be really good. The other version of Magneto, the white version, is like slightly less impressive to play again. But he's still a really solid champion. He has this pre-fight ability that you can activate that increases the attack of all characters by 15%. But then as well, if you are playing a character that has the hashtag metal or hashtag hero tag, then you also apply a passive stun, which this passive stun is so good for getting around characters like Annihilus, anybody that shrugs off debuffs like Mole Man. Also, I think it can get around the debuff immunity nodes as well, or the stun immunity nodes. Actually, it's one of the two. I think it's debuff immunity that gets around, not stun immunity with a passive stun. But yeah, dude, overall, this Magneto, fantastic support character. And also, like, once you get him ramped up via a special 3 and then use a special 1 and special 2, he hits really hard. But I think one thing is that his special attacks, the animations, are actually going to be changed around a little bit. I think his special 1 becomes the special 2, and I think his special 2 becomes the special 1. I know that's something they were talking about during the beta testing, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But when both of these characters are released, we are going to do some updated gameplay videos and check them out on the live version and kind of see what cool stuff they can do. But overall, dude, both of the buffs are really good to Magneto. But again, the red version does have a much better buff, at least in my opinion. But overall, next month's update is looking really good. I just want to see the spotlights for Apocalypse and also Professor X as well, man, because I'm very curious about both of those characters. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy today's patch notes breakdown, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.